and welcome back to Calling Cosplay. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these cosplay arm wraps, hand wrap bandage things. So this is for my Rock Lee cosplay from Naruto, and that is arm wraps that cover the hand and the arm. So I'm going to start by just doing a simple pattern. I'm just going to trace my hand and my arm onto a piece of paper. And then I'm going to add some seam allowance. So in this pattern here, I added about 1/4 inch seam allowance, and that actually ended up not being enough. I had to go back and add about 1/2 inch seam allowance to this pattern. Now for the fabric I am using this white stretch fabric. You really need to have a fabric that has a lot of stretch to it, and that's going to be really comfortable. Another thing to consider is you want the edges to not fray. Otherwise, you're gonna have to find some sort of way to finish your seams and all your edges. And for this bandage look, I really did not want that. I really wanted all those rough edges and those rough seams. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut out our pattern. Now, what we're also gonna need to cut out is some bandage pieces, some length here. So I'm going to be cutting out these really long strips, about 1.5 inches wide. I think I cut out a few yards here. You're going to want a lot. So we are going to take that pattern that we cut out at the start, and we're going to sew a glove. So we're just going to sew those 2 side seams and in between each finger. And I'm going to be using a zigzag stitch for this because it is a stretch fabric. I want it to have a lot of stretch. So I'm going to try this glove on, and then I'm going to do any kind of fitting. I'm going to cut the fingers to the right length and just see if it fits, and just make sure you have a lot of space between your fingers, a lot of good range of motion. So this glove fit pretty well, except it was a little baggy at my wrist. So I'm going to just pin in that little wrist area where I want it to go, and then I'm just going to re-sew that seam a little bit smaller and then cut off any of the excess. So now I'm going to put on my glove, and I'm going to strategically rip some holes in it. So this is where we are going to sew in our bandage strips that we cut out. So for my glove, I decided to put a hole just underneath the thumb, and that is where I put one of the bandages. Then I put one just on the opposite side of the wrist, and then I put one between my thumb and my pointer finger. So I put 3 different holes in this glove. And for each hole, you want it wide enough that your bandage fabric can just very smoothly and flatly lay in between that seam. And now I'm going to re-sew that side seam with the bandage in it. And I'm going to do that for all 3 locations where I put the bandages. And at the end, you're just gonna have this glove with these strands hanging off of them. I used the bandage that is underneath my thumb. I used that strand to wrap around my forearm. And then I used the other 2 strands to wrap around my thumb and my hand. And with these gloves, because they are fingerless gloves, they do give the illusion of your fingers being wrapped as well. So I found that to work really well, and I didn't have to try and wrap between the fingers. I was able to get this to hold itself pretty well without any sort of snaps, any safety pins, any Velcro. You could obviously do that if you would like. I personally just took the strands and I tucked them in to other bandaging. So I wrapped the first bandage and then I just tucked it in under itself. The pressure from it being wrapped around my arm was enough to hold it in place. And I did wear this wrapped for like an hour or 2. And this actually stayed really well. It was really comfortable. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.